Hello, thanks for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. Kim McAllister hopefully will be here very shortly. I did text her, so hopefully she is on her way. We do have a big show because next week we will know the results of the Prop 50 here in California election. So make sure you get those ballots in. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up in a couple of minutes. But as always, I thank you guys for being here. This show is 100% crowdfunded. So if you guys can support the show in any way, I would appreciate it. Kim would appreciate it as well. Patreon is up. PayPal, we love PayPal. The Nikki Maduro Show at gmail.com is the email address. And of course, these super chat, super stickers are always up and running. And if you're here live with your cocktail or whatever you choose to have, we of course read your comments live right on the show. We will be getting to no longer Prince Andrew's story as well, you guys. I saw that as well. He's out, he's evicted, and good riddance for him. But first, of course, we are following today the very latest on the drama surrounding the government shutdown. And we've been talking about this. We have been following this. And the very latest is basically more of the same. I'm going to play you a little bit of a video. Chuck Schumer, he's getting pissed off. They're trying, as we all know, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is being blamed, as is Democrats, for the shutdown. But the Washington Post had a poll. The Post, ABC News, and Ipsos had a poll. Independents hold the president and Republicans responsible by a 2-to-1 margin over the Democrats for this shutdown. Independents, obviously. So you can try and get hashtag Schumer shutdown going. It's the Republicans, i.e. also Donald Trump, that are responsible for this shutdown. But Schumer's getting pissed off, okay? I'm going to play this little clip. Where he's getting really riled up. He's kind of sick and tired of this whole idea, right? The Dems are responsible. And again, we talk about how, and I know what you're saying, Teacher Lori. Schumer, his time is over. You know, definitely need new blood. I really do say this. And I do agree that he should have stepped aside for someone new a long time ago. But I do just maintain, and thank you, Harry, for the $5 donation. We're getting this party started. The whole idea of blaming Schumer and the Democrats is just total bullshit. Okay, so here he is just getting kind of fed up with the whole idea of him being blamed for this shutdown. Here we go. So it's going to start with some like really quiet sound.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Okay, but there's, only 5 or 6 billion, and it's not cost $8 billion monthly just to administer. I mean, if anything, it will only last.
It does not cost $5 or $6 billion to administer. There's enough money to start feeding people right away. $6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. $20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? Yes.
What happens once it runs out? If it only lasts 2-3 weeks, do the cuts fold then?
The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
And they also, if the contingency fund, which is $6 billion, which gets you nearly a month, 3 weeks, runs out, then they can pass Senator Lujan or Senator Hawley's bill, both of which we support. We know that there'll be 60 votes for that. Why aren't they calling it up? They're not calling it up because the House isn't here to pass it. That's the way it works. The House would have to come here. They probably would have to vote on the Epstein files, but they're choosing to let kids go hungry instead of having to vote on the Epstein files. There's no doubt about it. They have been out for 6 weeks on vacation.
Just think, if they have all this money for Argentina and all this money for other things, they have enough money to keep funding SNAP, and they know it. And I just want to say what Lujan said. Johnson just lies.
Mm-hmm.
He lied about on immigration, on the undocumented. He's lying about this. He just outright lies, plain and simple. It is not illegal, and his own president has done it.
Now, I just want to say that, yeah, Mike Johnson completely lies. Do they have the 60 votes? Of course not, right? So you do honestly have to work with Democrats to get the government open, but they know that. They know that. It was even on Fox News. I forget her name, but was making this argument. you have to work with Dems. So stop acting like you don't have to work with Democrats on this. But this is my point. All of these people, and I have them in my family, that are arguing, open up the government, and then we'll talk about healthcare. In what world have we ever been able to trust Republicans to do anything on healthcare? Okay? So let's just go down this road. Okay? Let's say the Dems blink and they open up the government with no guarantee on healthcare. Okay? So people get their SNAP benefits. Yay! At the end of the year, they're effed. Because guess what the Republicans, I bet you, are not going to do? Solve healthcare. And they're sure as shit not going to give us the subsidy extension. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll give us the Christmas gift, but I'm not going to put my money on it. I'm not going to put my money on it because I'm just going to base future behavior on past behavior. How about that? Okay. So they might shock me, but I'm not going to put my money on it. So if they don't extend the subsidies, who cares about the SNAP benefits? Even more Americans can't afford basic necessities. They can't afford healthcare. They can't afford to get sick. And they're pissed about illegal immigrants going to the emergency rooms. Do you know how many more people are going to use the emergency room as healthcare because they can't afford it? That's the problem. Again, there is no plan. And Marjorie Taylor Greene even knows it herself. She called it out on X. She called out House Speaker Mike Johnson this week for not providing any plans on a Republican alternative to the ACA and the tax subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year. She wrote on X, quote, "You left out that I said I have no respect for the House not being in session, passing our bills and the president's executive orders. And I demanded to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republican plan for healthcare is as an off-ramp for Obamacare and the ACA tax credits to make health insurance affordable for Americans." MTG, I'll give you the cliff notes. There is none. There is none. There never has been. She goes on to write, Johnson says he's got ideas and pages of policy ideas and committees of jurisdiction are working on it, but he refused to give one policy proposal to our GOP conference on our own conference call. Apparently, I have to go into a skiff to find out the Republican healthcare plan. She's just saying out loud what we all knew. She's just saying out loud what we all knew. Exactly, Tammy. Remember, Donald Trump, we'll have it for you in 2 weeks. We'll have it. The details are being worked out. You know what I mean? It's sitting right next to the Epstein files. You know what I mean? Like, the Republican Party is, I always laugh. And this just popped in my head. Whenever you would ask my mother, how far a place was, she'd always say it was like 10 or 15 minutes away. It could be an hour away. It's 10 or 15 minutes away. That's the Republican Party to me. It's just like, oh, it's 2 weeks. It's right there. Where? The truth of the matter is they don't have a plan because it's not easy. That's the problem. If they would just suck it up and make the ACA better, because it's not perfect. For some people, it's still way expensive. Let's admit we have to admit the truth. There's so many truths here. One, the reason Obamacare was created is because people thought they had insurance until they had to use it. And then they realized it didn't really cover much. So it's like you didn't even have any, although you were paying for something. And that's what Obama wanted to fix, right? It's like, they're like, if you like your insurance, you could keep it, but it wasn't real insurance. So it didn't kind of count, right? But people didn't like that because they were healthy. You're like, why can't I keep my cheap insurance? I'm healthy until you get sick, right? So Obama made it so insurance had to be of a certain type. It had to actually be insurance. Well, that's expensive if you don't get everyone to buy in. And so then because the Republican Party fought tooth and nail against it, it was this mishmash of, problems, and it wasn't efficient, and the rollout was crap, if you remember that. I couldn't believe it was crap, in this age of technology, and the website sucked, right? But if only the GOP could have thought beyond politics and actually put the American people first. And I am going to call out the Republican Party because Obama and the Democrats did what they have failed to do ever since, which is actually put something together, lay it out, get the bones set up. Now they just got to get out of the way and make it better. Make it better. Make it cheaper. That's it. It should be bipartisan. It should be bipartisan. And I saw somebody comment on it. And yeah, a lot of people are I'm going to give it up for The View, by the way. Given what's happened with late night talk show hosts and all, the concern about shows being canceled and crap. Whoopi Goldberg on The View made an announcement that MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene herself, will be appearing on the show amid the government shutdown. Obviously, she's a huge supporter of Donald Trump, as we know. Goldberg says, people in Washington are starting to say, my constituents, they're starting to remember why they're there. And then she says, those same people can pull you out of there. And that's why you said Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be coming on Election Day. Thoughts. Now, I have many thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene being on The View. Obviously, my first thought is it's to benefit her, right? I mean, obviously, but on the other hand, tell me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong here? Do you think there is a part of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I hate saying this, it hurts me, pains me, where she is seeing the bullshit? I mean, is it all politics, or is she like, what the are we talking about here? Because I don't agree with her on a lot, right? I don't. But I do exactly, damn it, like, are we in the Twilight Zone? At least she's spouting what I agree with right now. Hey, if you can have one of MAGA's biggest blowhorns spewing your talking points for you, I can't fight against that, right? I mean, it's just why the Republicans are loving John Fetterman right now, right? So, except, he's just full of it. Exactly, Kevin. MTG, even crazy people are right sometimes. But it's why is she right? Like, do you think that there is some sort of, greedy ulterior motive, or do you think that she's actually seen the light? Because I do think, because she shouldn't, this is the thing. I'm getting heated up. She knew this shit back then. She knew the Republicans didn't have a health care plan back then. You think it just dawned on Marjorie Taylor Greene that the Republican Party has not had a health care plan? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. She's known that. So the only reason I could think that she's being so vocal about it has to be for a political reason, has to be for, a wounded ego because Trump didn't choose her for anything, those sorts of things. Yet, if we can use that wounded ego to convince Republican voters to hear the words because they'll only listen to their side, I mean, I'm all for it, right? I mean, I definitely think we need more people like that. Kim, she's a loon, but I give her credit for being one of the few maggots that'll go on and have a discussion. True. And again, ulterior motive or not, she's still doing it. And she's doing it at a very opportune moment for us to do this during the government shutdown, to fight against what I would say is likely intense pressure. And from what we understand, probably a lot of threats, right? I mean, that's just the age we live in right now, where if you're speaking against whatever, some people, mentally ill people, take that as a sign that they need to threaten you in some way, whether online, whether seriously or not, they do that. Eileen says The View also had RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines, on. I know. She had a book to sell. MTG is not writing a book right now, is she? I wonder if she's writing a book right now. I mean, what else is she going to do? I mean, I know she's obviously has a political job right now, but she could be seeing the writing on the wall right now. Harry, that I agree. MTG proves the old meme, even a blind hog finds an acorn. Vilma, Johnson can call Congress into session anytime he wants. Ding, ding, ding. They might not have the votes for the budget, but Republicans can open the government. Absolutely. They don't want to. MTG knows it, and the American public knows it. And so then the American public is looking around and being like, why? And they're only going to buy the, and I think they've reached their limit, right? They have reached the limit on the excuse coming from Mike Johnson of, well, we can't. This is the Democratic Party's fault. It's not. Open the government. Absolutely open the government. Sal says she's a lame duck, right? MTG. Not running again so she can say what she really thinks, and she's a little pissed she didn't get a cabinet position. Exactly. That's why I was saying the ulterior motives, and maybe she does have some sort of plans, either in politics, maybe back home. Maybe she's just not, maintaining any popularity back home, but can get kind of that independent, maybe even a Democratic, middle of the line Democratic voter in her state to vote her way. Who knows? Yes. And Mama, you're absolutely right, because she said this out loud. Isn't this always the way? Mama says she's always speaking out because the rise in healthcare costs will affect people she knows. It was always going to affect people she knows. And what's so interesting also, and I'm going to find the article, is these people often represent states that use and need these benefits the most. Not all of them. I mean, there was a map, and I hope I took the link, but there was a map of which states use SNAP benefits the most, right? And it's both red and blue states. Which states, hold on, use SNAP the most? I would have Kim do this, but she's not here. But yeah, it's a mixture. Okay, so New Mexico, 21% of residents in New Mexico receive benefits, then Louisiana, then Oregon, right? Third, Oregon, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Illinois, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania. So, you know what I mean? Like it's a mix of red and blue. It's not, poverty doesn't, discriminate, but red states do use a lot of it. And blue states do fund a lot of these programs. So, it's just one of those things where it's upsetting that it has to be until it affects some politicians in their own neighborhoods before they care, but at least they'll start caring. At least they'll start caring, and that's important. Now, sad state of affairs. With SNAP benefits delayed, I've seen this all over the place, and Lori, I think you sent this to me as well. Restaurants are stepping up locally, and I'm assuming probably around the country, to help feed Bay Area families starting November 1st. SNAP benefits usually distributed at the start of the month will be delayed unless obviously something changes. And so hundreds of thousands of people in the Bay Area who rely on CalFresh, which is our version of SNAP, are basically screwed. And so around 2 million of the CalFresh users are children. And a lot of restaurants are saying, we do not want these kids to go hungry. I wasn't able to put it in the show notes, but I will link it. There, whether you're in San Francisco, East Bay, the Peninsula, South Bay, North Bay, there are restaurants that will basically feed you if you have your, CalFresh card. And on one hand, thank God for people and business owners like this. If you have a child and you're a parent with an EBT card, you can, often you can get fed at a lot of these places, like Tony and Alba. They put a post on social media that says you can get a free pizza or pasta with carrots, fruit, and a drink to the kids, because no child should go hungry because Congress can't get it together. Let me go down the list. If you're in San Francisco, Rusty Ladle, Devil's Teeth Baking Company, Al Pastor Papi, Tacos El Patron, Whack Donuts. That's kind of cool. In the East Bay, there's a pho place, Monster Pho, Puerto Rican street cuisine in Oakland, OG Tacos. In the South Bay, Tony and Alba's, like I mentioned, Shrimpin' Ain't Easy, which has an awesome food truck, by the way. That's here in San Jose. Gamer's Heaven, Cochise Kitchen. That's in Morgan Hill. North Bay has a couple. Winston's in Napa, Mill Valley Pasta in Mill Valley. And then Bay Area wide, KM Mushrooms at farmers markets around the Bay Area. So, and you can Google, I bet there's more. It's just, I don't know. There's so much need. And I just can't believe that right before Thanksgiving, November 1st, right? The month, right after the holidays, I was listening to somebody and they said, the Christmas season starts November 1st, even though we haven't had Thanksgiving yet. Think about that. What? We have less than 8 Saturdays or whatever before Christmas. People want to do their Christmas shopping. And I'm not saying it's all about gifts and things like that, but think about where this government is putting people right now. They can't feed their families right now. And yet they're just effing around about stuff like this. And they're blaming Democrats, but Democrats know the truth. If they blink, Americans are screwed. It's either you can't feed your family or you can't get sick. You need both. You need food and you need health care. The hell is wrong in this country? And I get why Schumer is pissed. I really, honestly do. It has to be really frustrating. So anyways, we will see what happens. I really, honestly, I really, really hope, I hope that they blink. Election day is going to be interesting. Like I mentioned at the top, obviously Prop 50 here in California. It's big. I was just driving. What was it, on Highway 17 near Hamilton? Anybody knows my neck of the woods? They have all these no on Prop 50 people. Are you guys still seeing the no on Prop 50 people? Apparently Newsom is not worried anymore. He told people you can stop donating. Anyone think that's a little brave? I mean, he must know something that we don't know. He must see some sort of polling, which dangerous, a la Hillary Clinton. Let me take a sip. I don't donate. Just because Prop 50 passes doesn't mean the fight's over, right? So I get what he's saying. Like, we've got enough money to win. There's enough in the coffers. We don't need any more. I just hope that maybe there's enough ballots that have been sent. I don't know. I don't know what he knows that I don't know, but I'm just going to still be promoting, get those ballots in. I walk mine in. So I'll be walking mine in on Tuesday. So yeah, it's very, very important. Billie Eilish, the singer, came out with a message to younger voters. Salsa Poly Market. I don't know what that is, but it has Prop 50 passing by 97%. And Kevin says Republicans have pulled ads because it looks like it's going to win. I hope that all of that polling is correct, right? I would imagine it is. But again, we also have to remember there's other states that are doing the opposite, right? There's this whole idea of redistricting outside of the 10 years. It's so stupid. It's so asinine. I really hope this punch in the face of let's go back to doing it the way it's always been done works. I really, really hope. I really hope it works. I hope this isn't the beginning of this tit for tat, changing the rules because we can kind of thing. We just don't have a government that can stand up to the ultimate cheater, which is Donald Trump. I mean, and I was reading this article, and all I kept thinking about, they were talking about, him doing, the demolition of the East Wing and this, that, or the other. And every piece of oversight there would be, anybody that would rein him in is a yes man or a yes woman. And I always keep thinking the same thing. He didn't make the same mistake he did in 2016. Like in 2016, he was like, it was he'll become presidential after he's done it in a few years, which he never did. And he's going to have mature people that know the job around him. He didn't make that mistake this time. He's like, oh no, I'm going to fire everybody that knows the job and would ever challenge me, ever say no to me. And I'm only going to put people in that are going to push my agenda. And that's the difference. Exactly. Zero guardrails. That's the problem. We have these agencies to run governments, to make sure that things run properly, not to push one single person's political agenda. That's not a way to run a country, especially when we change presidents, possibly every 4 to 8 years. I mean, think about that. No, That's not the way to do it. You have the Environmental Protection Agency, right? Just using it as an example, that has its own stated goal and mission. And it's to, let's just make it really basic, protect the environment, protect water, make sure that, all that sort of stuff is clean. It is not to push the agenda that climate change is a load of BS and negate all of the progress that we've made because this man hates it. That's not the point of having these agencies. And he doesn't understand. He doesn't want to understand it. He wants, and that's why he has these loyalty tests. That's why whenever we keep hearing these stories of people being hired or whatever, do you agree? Will you support the Donald Trump basically agenda? Why is that a requirement to work for an agency that is under the executive branch, but is not under the president? Does that make sense? So anyways, he has exploited this loophole of our checks and balances and brilliantly, for lack of a better word. It's because we just made the biggest assumption as a people, is that we believed in the checks and balances. We believed in a certain way that things would be done. And he realized that if he just moves quickly enough, he knows how slowly governments and checks and balances work, that the damage is already done. The East Wing is already demolished. Okay, so I wasn't supposed to do it. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? It's gone. All right. You're going to find me? What are you going to do? Oh, so I got private donors and I didn't tell you who they were. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That is, I think, the motto that Donald Trump lives by. He knows that whatever repercussions he would ever face, if any, is only going to come months, if not years, if not after the presidency. So why does he give a shit? Why does he care? Just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. And, they'll figure it out at the end. And if people don't like it, all right. Huh. I mean, dude, the guy was impeached, right? He's a fucking felon and he reelected. And the Supreme Court. So if there was ever a message to him, it's that you could do whatever you want. And that's what we've told. So yeah, it's, I don't know. Sandy says, if the checks and balances are supposed to keep a president from having too much power, why is the president allowed to fire all these people? Because he is. Because we allowed him to. Because he's allowed to set up, he's allowed to hire his own cabinet. He is. But we assumed, Sandy, the assumption, right? It makes an ass out of you and me. We made huge assumptions. We assumed that if you put someone in charge of the EPA, that they actually loved the environment, not wanted to destroy it. We assumed that if you put, somebody in charge of an agency, they actually even knew the name of the agency or knew what it does, right? We assumed that if you made, the head of the Department of War now, right, that he actually had more experience than the people that were technically under him. But no. These are assumptions. These are assumptions that we made as a people because he's allowed to do the things that he's done. And we will learn from this mistake. Hopefully, we definitely didn't learn from the first president, Donald Trump presidency. And maybe it's because, I don't know, there is a myriad of reasons. I think, honestly, I could vomit the myriad of reasons going from Biden's election. And I know you guys get on me about this sometimes when I say it, but I've always maintained I never thought he was the right candidate. But we had it. I'm not saying he was a bad president. I'm just saying I don't think he was the right one for the exact reason we found ourselves in, which was the next election. And then it just snowballed from there. But yeah, I hope as a people that the next president that we elect, that all of these lessons that we're learning, we don't make those same mistakes again, that we look for a candidate that respects the checks and balances and wants people that will keep him or her in line, that wants people to challenge them. How many times have you heard, leaders, CEOs that have said that? I don't want yes men and women around me. I want people that will challenge me. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I need to leave that room. That's what leaders say, because they want to keep learning. They want to be challenged. Idiots want to be surrounded by yes people. They want to be the smartest person in the room. It's ego, right? So yeah. Thank you so much, Cindy, for the $10 donation. Thank God for employer insurance. Have had unexpected essential surgeries through no fault of my own. We need traditional Medicare for all, doctors, and you decide treatment. Thank you, Nikki and Kim, for your work. Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous that in 2025, almost 2026, that the insurance system in this country not only is the way it is, but that you and I could be sitting next to each other in the exact same hospital, be the exact same age, have the exact same medical problem, and pay vastly different prices for the exact same care. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so wrong. And it makes it hard to live. And, I would play the song, but you guys should Google it. Jeff Daniels did this whole song on MSNBC that was got, some people loved it, some people hated it, whatever. It was about crazy world. And that's one of the things. It's like this world is so freaking crazy. But he was in that, what was it, the newsroom? Oh, it was the newsroom, right? Where he was in that. And the famous scene is, why is the United States the best country in the world? And he does this whole long speech of who said the United States is the best country in the world. And the reason why that speech goes viral is because it's true. Say everything you will about countries that have dictators and propaganda, but we love our propaganda. You know what I mean? We love our propaganda. We love our national anthem. And I'm not saying we don't, but we will sit in a country that screws us from both ends and have a hard time admitting we're not the best country in the world. A lot of us. And people will vilify us for saying that, right? There are people that will listen to me just say that right now and be like, how dare you? And yet, how many people are about to go hungry? How many people can't afford healthcare and your government doesn't give a shit, right? How many people can't afford housing? And yet we just sent how many billion? How many? 20 billion to another country to prop them up? And what we're the best. No, it's all BS. It is all BS. I'm not quite sure. Kim is supposed to be here. Hopefully she will join in. Maybe she forgot. Maybe she had something going on. Usually she will not forget. And I know she wanted to be here today. She was texting me about an interview just last night. So something probably with the kids. I don't know. Hopefully she'll join us before the end of the show. If not, I know she misses you guys. So, but yeah, Trump is absolutely off his freaking rocker. I absolutely agree. But speaking about the greatest country, I wanted to play this video. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. Oh, can I show it? Darn it. Hold on. Let me see if I can show it. So it's about the difference in generations. Oh my God, my daughter was cracking me up today because she always teases me about being Generation X. And how Generation X hates to be called anything else and how we latch onto it, blah, blah, blah. And so she totally went off on it. It was really, 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 really funny. But the New York Times had this video. I don't know how many of you subscribe to the New York Times, but they had this video and it's called Thanks a Lot Boomers. And I'm going to play it for you. I hope I can make it big. And it's about 3 minutes long. I want you guys to listen to it. And I know that the age of our viewers ranges. So give me your thoughts as you're listening, keeping in mind what we were just talking about. Okay. This being either the best or not so great country in the world. And where do you lay, and I'm just, for lack of a better word, blame for how the country is the way it is? Okay. So here we go. Hopefully it plays loudly for you. Let's see. Will it play for me? Come on. Oh, is it not going to play? Oh, maybe I can't play it for you. Hold on. I just totally got it up and let me see if I could do it. It's not going to play for me, unfortunately. I was really hoping it would because it's a video. Well, oh well. It's not going to play right now, unfortunately. I thought I was going to be able to get it, but it's not going to play. Anyways, so maybe I'll get it in a little bit. I can give you the nuts and bolts. So they were doing this whole rundown on the New York Times about blaming boomers. And they were basically saying that younger Americans, and they were talking to younger Americans in New York, and they were expressing their frustration at, the high cost of education, the scarcity of affordable housing, and how basically the boomers grew up in a time where it was an escalator, right? Like you could just afford everything, and they didn't have to. Oh, here we go. I'm able to get it. I think I'm able to get it on Reddit. Here we go. Let's see. I'm able to get it on Reddit. Okay. I'm not going to do it any justice, so you guys have to watch it. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Let's hope it works.
It's easy to wave signs saying, I can't believe I'm still protesting this shit. But if you're looking to hold someone accountable,
own the world you made. Protest yourselves.
Americans born in the decades after World War II were handed the world on a silver platter.
Cheap college, cheap housing,
abundant opportunity.
The vast majority of you ended up wealthier than your parents.
And Lord knows it wasn't because you were smarter or worked harder.
It was because America was an escalator.
You just had to stand on it.
You've been an electoral powerhouse since the 80s.
When presented with a choice between protecting your interests
or investing in a better future for your children,
you usually chose yourselves.
Can you believe it?
More benefits for boomers.
More tax cuts for boomers.
And borrowed money to make up the difference.
Over the past quarter century, you've put almost $30 trillion on the national credit card. On behalf of future generations stuck with the bill, what is your problem?
What's your problem?
A year at a public university
costs almost 4 times as much as it did in 1970 after adjusting for inflation.
The average house costs more than 2 times as much.
And you made it difficult for younger Americans to live in the cities with the best jobs.
You regularly use your electoral might to squash
plans for new construction and protect your property values.
It's like you think democracy only exists so that you can band together en masse to freeze your communities in time.
You're the reason so many Americans sleep in their cars.
You're the reason that public schools today are more segregated than they were in 1968.
It's easy to blame the nation's political leaders.
But let's be clear, for the last few decades, they've mostly been members of your generation.
Elected with your support.
To protect your interests.
From the first boomer president, Bill Clinton,
to the current boomer president, who is hopefully the last one.
The Bush years were peak boomer. In 2001, when the government's coffers were overflowing,
you did what you always did.
You passed a giant tax cut, dividing the money amongst yourselves.
In 2003, you did it again.
And in 2006, you were all in for a big increase in government spending
on Medicare, just in time for the first boomer retirees.
You decided you'd rather have Walmarts than factory jobs.
And you didn't ask too many questions about the low price of your supersized flat screen TV.
You enjoyed the short-term benefits of deregulating the banking industry,
telecommunications, and a host of other industries,
leaving future generations to clean up the mess of corporate consolidation and junk fees.
But hey, making things cheaper for yourself at everyone else's expense is kind of your MO.
You tree-hugging hippies championed environmentalism. But what is your legacy?
A world that keeps burning more carbon and a planet that keeps getting hotter.
Instead of actually confronting the problem, you embrace recycling. A con game that allows people to pretend they care about the planet without doing anything even a little difficult.
Like using fewer plastic bottles.
You exported your waste to less wealthy nations, or you just dumped it in the ocean. Thanks to you, there's an island of trash 3 times the size of France, swirling off the coast of California.
But don't think we're entirely ungrateful.
We appreciate the progress that you made on civil rights and gender equality.
Although you don't always seem to understand that there's still a lot of work to do.
Thanks for the avocados, some good music, and the World Wide Web. But maybe, instead of writing poster puns, it's time to write some apology notes.
All right. So thoughts. I'm going to start at the bottom. Cheryl says, I hate this. I'm a boomer. We are about people. We're against racism, and we've come a long way. I'm going to start with that one. I agree. I mean, obviously I just mentioned I'm Gen X, but my parents are boomers, right? It's hard for me to reconcile that the 1940s and 50s, where my parents were born, my dad was born in 1940, my mom was born in 1950, or anywhere, that it's not better, right? Especially when race relations and things like that are concerned. Although, like at the end, there is way more that we still have to do. Phineas had made the comment, boomers have not controlled the vote or prices. This is a ridiculous commercial. Well, boomers are the largest voting bloc still. Millennials are catching up, but according to the Pew Research Center, they still beat out millennials as the largest voting bloc in the country. So I think that's where they were aligning. Not that they all vote the same, though. So I will say that. I'm not saying all boomers vote the same, but they are the largest voting bloc by numbers. As far as prices, I mean, it matters what prices you're talking about. This is the one that I have an issue with. And I'm only going to use this anecdotally because I think everybody talks from their own experience. I'll talk about housing and the freezing in time. And you guys can totally disagree with me on this, but we've talked about housing before. I sincerely believe, and I truly believe this, that boomers are the ones that started, their generation, the single family home, white picket fence, American dream, right? Can we kind of agree that that was that generation, right? They do want that frozen in time. They do. And I think that they do kind of still sell that is that ideal, but that's not realistic anymore. And if you're going to vote, if you're going to be a NIMBY and you're going to vote against, high density housing, you're going to do all those things, then yeah, I do think that that's wrong. I think that you're voting for a reality that doesn't exist anymore. I was listening to somebody and I think I mentioned this last week. They were talking to people in Austin, Texas, and they're like, why can't people afford, that first starter home? First, they're not building them because they're building luxury houses that rich people can buy. And boomers aren't leaving their homes. If they are, they're dying or they're leaving them to their children, right? So if you don't have one of those things happening to you, if you don't have a parent leaving you that single family home that you grew up in, good luck, especially in a high cost living area like California. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Point to an area that has a lot of jobs, well-paying jobs, where people are itching to build high-density housing, right? Every time you talk about it, it's like, oh, I support it. I just don't want it in my neighborhood. That's the problem. So I do get that. You know what I mean? Somebody else would say, oh, here we go. Vilma, watch out, Nikki. Boomer parents also made $65 a week. Yeah, there's this, again, anecdotally, story, right? Like mom stayed home with the kids. Dad went to work. He was able to work at one job for most of his life. They were able to, on that paycheck, buy that single family home and put their kids into school that was still a nice school. They didn't have to worry about their kids, right? This is the dream that we keep hearing about. How did that change? Who changed it? Who? That's the question. Like, it's not like I'm pointing the finger and saying it's just the boomers, but I do believe that voting decisions, interests, desires were made by the largest voting bloc to protect interests, right or wrong. And all of it, it's human nature to want to protect what you like. I'm not just saying, Gordon, I'm not just saying that it's only boomers that want to do that, right? If you got yours, you want to keep it. Like, that is human nature. Like, I like my neighborhood. I want to keep it the way I want it. And I'm going to do whatever I can to do that. Like, I have this nice school that my kids go to. I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that it stays nice. That's just human nature. But if you start to see things change, if you want things to be better for your kids, and you start to see that things aren't, it's time to adjust, right? It's time to adjust. Now, I played you guys this video because I knew it was going to be very controversial. Like, those people are harsh, right? Like, and that's the point of that video. It's like this slap, right? It's this slap in the face of, and I don't think that it's just the boomers' faults, right? What generation after the boomers is like, oh, it's okay, I won't take mine. It's okay. I know the boomers didn't give up theirs, but I won't take mine, right? I won't. nobody's doing that, right? I mean, they're trying to piecemeal, right? I would love to still have a single family home with a yard. I don't know about the white picket fence, but you know what I'm saying. I don't think it's wrong to want that at all. But I also wouldn't fight against high density housing. Does that make sense? I understand that not everybody can afford a single family home, nor want it. Especially in areas like San Jose or the Bay Area. It doesn't make sense for people. Not with the population that we have and those sorts of things. I just wish that there wasn't such a pushback on so much of it. Suann says, I lived with my parents until I was 36, barely got into a condo, went to parents for dinner nightly since I could barely pay my mortgage. I love that you brought this up, Suann. So this is the other thing that we have to talk about later generations, right? So boomers, yes, had the house and all that. But a lot of them didn't have $1,000 cell phone in their pocket. I mean, they didn't have a cell phone in their pocket, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. They might have had a car. Some of them had one TV, right? The material goods of the 2025 family versus the 1950s family, 60s family, way different. Now, I will say there are certain things like a cell phone, a computer that aren't a luxury. It's a necessity. Hands down, you need a computer. You need a phone, okay? There are other things where people think that they need to DoorDash every meal. They need to Uber everywhere. All of these needs are actually wants or, niceties instead of necessities. That's not needed. So yeah, I definitely think the mentality of materialism is different, but I still think raising wages, that hasn't kept up. And then just the disconnect between that in and of itself, this whole idea of minimum wage and the debate over what minimum wage even is, and that some people look at you still with a straight face and say minimum wage was never supposed to support a family, when actually that's what it was when it started. And it might as well be nothing at this point, right? I mean, some people are like, there should be a minimum wage. Companies should decide it. It basically is $7. $7. The federal minimum wage, what, $7.25? That's what it still is. I mean, I don't even think you could get an extra value meal at McDonald's for that. Not saying that that's the barometer, but I'm just saying, right? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't mean to sound like the people in the ad, but tell me where you disagree. Like the housing, I'll debate you till the cows come home on the housing. I really do. I think that the older generations really need to understand. I'm not saying sell their homes. I'm not. My parents still live in the home that I grew up in. They should never be forced to move out of their home. Absolutely not. But I would be really upset if they fought a citywide ordinance to build more high density housing. I would be upset. Like, would you like to have your grandchildren be able to afford a house in the city that they grew up in someday? Or just even an apartment or a condo? Like, I understand, the traffic, the people are here. People want to live here. And if they don't like the people, the population, they can move. Yeah, it's all a decision. I just think this idea of the 1950s, 60s America doesn't exist anymore. And we just need to let it go. I'm not saying it's only the boomers' faults, but I do think it started with the ideal that they grew up in. That's what I'm saying. Vilma, we didn't have a lot of single parents as we do in this generation. There are people with children that can't afford a house. Do you need 2 incomes? I would say if you live here, you need 2 incomes. I think there's a lot of reasons why we have single parents in this generation. I think there's a lot of people that have 2 parents, but there's nobody home because they have to work. They have to work 2 jobs, right? A lot of latchkey kids. That's another consequence of this generation. No, Vicky wants to blame the Republicans. I mean, we can go political, but I'm not willing to just blame one political party, because I do think that both Democrats and Republicans will pander to voters. So whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, I think those desires cross political lines. Absolutely. And yeah, being able to afford life right now, there's no easy answer for that. There's just no easy answer for that unless you you have to raise wages. You have to do something about the cost of housing. You have to do something, right? Everyone's like, you have to build more. You have to build more. You have to build more. Nobody wants to build the housing. So yeah, it's one of those things, whether it's housing, college, college, for some people, it's this albatross around their neck that they don't even use. The debt, right? The debt of college, because they, again, were sold this ideal. You go to college, you get basically a degree, right? A degree I remember being told this young, just get a degree. A degree looks great on your application. Not like, a degree in, cloud drawing or something, but just get a degree. It shows that you committed to something, that you finished something, and companies will want to hire you. Yeah, not a good idea if it's costing you $100,000 and the job that the only job you can get out of college is barely making the minimum payments on that loan that is growing exponentially. That's the problem. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Gordon, my college was $100 a year plus books. I remember when I went to West Valley, and I think I'm accurate. I think per unit, it was like $13, maybe 10, 11, maybe somewhere around there. I think I remember that. And that's community college. I don't know, my dad paid for my parents paid for me to go to San Jose State and graduate from there. But yeah, community college, that whole idea, the trades. I mean, thankfully, all of these ideas are coming back, which is good, which is really, really good. But yeah, we have to change. We have to change what we view as success. Sandy says, don't blame people who just happen to exist during a certain era. Blame the people who had the power during that era, the politicians who made the decisions. I agree. And again, this was just, obviously one sort of conversation based on the video. But I'm just saying, like, the politicians made the moves based on who their voters were and who was filling and paying for their campaigns. So no, I agree with you. It's the president and the Congress and the people who pass the laws and the bills and what have you. But, and I'm just because you grew up in the boomer generation, I'm not going to blame you completely. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that a lot of the problems that we see in the way that America looks and is designed largely started with that generation. That's why everything is based on that timeline, right? That's why it's a huge deal when the boomer generation retires and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I wanted to ask. And look who's joined us.
Hi.
Kim McAllister is here. Everyone's worried about you, but she's here.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
I had taken my kids for vaccines.
Oh, that's
we got
okay.
the flu shot and we got the COVID shot today. And then Julia had band practice. So I stayed in the car and she was supposed to come out. And guess what happened to me after I fell right asleep right in the car.
It's okay. Shots will do that to you. That's what'll happen.
I look up to my mom knocking on my window. I'm so sorry. It's totally
okay. It's okay. We're glad that you're here towards the end of the show.
You're gonna fire me. You're fired.
No, I would never fire you. We are finishing up our conversation about boomers. I played this video, Kim. I know it was a harsh video, so I'm getting a reaction, and I played it for the reaction. Basically, where younger generations are blaming the boomers for a lot of the state of the country right now. And, just the high cost of everything, basically pulling up the ladder after them. And, there's some things I agree with and some things I don't agree with. But my point is, the ideal of what America started as, that white picket fence, the single family home, largely started with the boomer generation, right? I mean, the idea of success, the American dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 50s and the 60s of Tommy riding the bicycle down the street, right? The safe schools. That's that generation. And if you latch on to that idea in 2025 and don't want to let go of it, it's really going to hurt, future generations. Now, I don't know what I'm saying that makes me sound privileged, but, it is what it is. I don't know what I'm saying, Mom, that's making me sound privileged, but Yvonne says college was less, but I had to pay my rent, food. My parents couldn't pay for college. Oh, maybe that's is that what I sound? Yes. My parents paid for me to go to San Jose State. Yes, absolutely. And I know a lot of people can't do that. Yeah. Absolutely. I will take that. And I will take it as a hit, I guess, because not a lot of people can. I've told my children I can't afford to send them immediately to a 4-year college. I've shared that on here a million times. My husband and I were sending them to community college first, and then hopefully, if their decision is to go to a 4-year after that, that's where we're going to put all of our money, and that's the plan. Because college is, again, like I mentioned, way more expensive than it was when I went to school.
So a couple things on this topic. First of all, shouldn't we all have known there was a problem? When it started to be the case that you couldn't afford to buy a house unless both members of a married couple worked. I mean, forget being single and buying a house. You need a double income home. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So problem number one. And then all of a sudden, it became this thing to not have a job with benefits, but to have this gig economy where people are trying to cobble together, as I am, some type of living by doing, multiple jobs, multiple whatever, and without benefits and whatever else. So it just seems like if that's the kind of society lifestyle that we're willing to accept, then it would follow that we aren't going to have the same things that our grandparents had.
Yeah.
Or our parents had. There are some jobs that maybe don't pay very well at the beginning, but toward the end, if you're a teacher in California, or after several years as a nurse in California, you're going to be okay. You're going to get a pension. You're going to be able to retire every month. You make almost, if you put in enough time, the same amount that you made when you were working every day. And there are still people that have those jobs, but those corporate jobs with pensions, those factory jobs with pensions, it's a whole different ballgame for people now. Now you're driving Uber Eats, and maybe you have an office job, and then maybe sometimes you're selling something on the side or whatever it may be, but that's just not going to be conducive to that quote American dream where you're going to buy $1 million house, because that's what they cost now, depending on where you live. So then it becomes ridiculous. And now you have grown-ups that have roommates because no one can afford to live here unless you alter the way you're going to see the world.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but that's...
No, it's exactly true. But that's the point, is the lifestyle, the way that success looks, the way raising a family looks, the way whatever looks in America in 2025, it's just not going to look the same way as it looked back in the 50s and 60s. And is it the boomers' fault? No. But if that is still, let's just say, my generation or the generation of the millennials, idea of what success looks like, it's going to be very disappointing, right? If I still think I need to have X, Y, and Z that my parents had to be successful, and I can never achieve that, that sucks. And there's no more pensions anymore because they convinced everybody to get a 401k, right? Invest in the stock market. Put all of your future in the stock market. Well, how did that work out during the Great Recession when people were right on the cusp of retiring, right? They got screwed. And then companies don't take care of you like they did back then. It's all, and again, I'm not, someone's like, why are you blaming the boomers? I'm not blaming. We're looking back. And in my opinion, it starts somewhere.
Right.
And it starts there, in my opinion. It starts there, and we have to adjust there. And the boomers are still alive, right? And so we just need to adjust in some way. And if they're still, which they are, at least according to Pew Research, the last poll they took, still the largest voting bloc, then they need to stop voting for their own interests and start looking out for the generations that are going to be outliving them now, right? So can they start voting en masse for an America that they're not going to live in anymore, right? Like, I'm not killing you all off, but I'm just saying, like, you might not grow up in this, in the next 30 years, but your grandchildren are gonna. So can you stop voting against high density housing? Can you stop voting against, things that you may not feel comfortable with right now, but they're going to need in 20 years. Does that make sense?
I do. It seems like for our kids to be able to afford to buy a house, for people of our generation to be able to, that didn't get in early and that now are looking at prices that are $1.5 million. If that's your example or your ideal of the American dream is home ownership, it seems like for a lot of people, the only way in now is through inheritance.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, your parents pass, and then maybe you've been saving to buy a house. Maybe you have some money cobbled away. It's not going to be nearly enough, but with the other half coming from your parents, right? Then maybe you can afford to either maintain their home or buy one of your own.
Right.
And then you have what happens to the next generation. And that may be, if we want them to stay around, we have to figure out a way to help them.
Exactly. And that's also another kind of pressure, right? Like now that's on our generation. Like now we've got to take care of our older parents if they're still alive, like that medical bills. We don't even have the healthcare. We were talking about that earlier. And now we have kids that are adults.
Right.
And if they want to stay in the area, trying to find a good job, if they went to college, pay off that college loan.
Right.
Like it's such
good luck.
Compounding problem. And okay, so I guess I am blaming. People are like, fine. How about this? I am blaming anybody that votes against the interests of future generations. Fair? That's who I'm blaming. If that's not you, if you're not a boomer that votes against the interests of what future generation needs, then I absolve you of blame or whatever.
Who are you blaming?
They're saying I'm blaming all boomers. I'm not blaming all boomers.
Oh, okay.
They're saying I am blaming all the boomers. And I'm not. I'm just saying where, in my opinion, where it starts, where this American ideal that no longer exists starts. If you want to call that blaming, okay, I'll take it. But I'm just saying, if you're going to continue to vote against future generations' interests, if you're going to continue to vote for a reality that no longer exists, because you want that America that the boomer generation was born into or grew up in to still exist, then yes, I'm blaming you. And I'll take that. I'll take the criticism for that because it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't.
But isn't that a perspective though? Because if you grew up in our parents' generation and you've got your mom was a nurse, my mom a teacher, you got your pension, you got your house, you're secure, what have you, then you come at it from, well, listen, this worked for me and I'm okay. And, I own my own home and I feel relatively secure.
Right.
I guess what it is, and you see it with, I guess with MAGA, and I don't want to compare the two too strenuously, but people say, well, it takes it to hit you before you really feel it. Right. Yeah. So like the MAGA people who are about to see their healthcare premiums go up $23,000 a year, maybe somebody will get it. But it's hard for people like my mom to go, oh, gosh, I understand that, we did things aren't, the opportunities aren't the same now as they were for me. And so, and things cost so much more and people aren't able to do this, get the same effect, achieve the same result. I don't know if I blame them for voting that way because their perspective is different.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I get that
you disagree, but you disagree with it.
No. I mean, there is no. I mean, when you say perspective, the first thing that always pops into my head is the saying, "There is no reality. There's only perspective." Right? You only live your own life, right? You only live in your own lens, and you only live in your own neighborhood and with your own experience, and that is true. So I'm not going to fight you on that. That's exactly true. So yeah, if you grew up in a certain way and you can continue to make that happy and you could be successful in that.
Yeah.
then I understand, I guess, why you would continue to vote that way, because you're making it work, right? Like, why would I vote? And I did say that, I get it. But I guess part of me, being somebody that reads the news and understands that it's not the same way all around the country and all around in different neighborhoods, understands that my vote doesn't just impact me, right?
Mhm.
Like, I might live in this neighborhood, but I also know that there's other neighborhoods. So and I love that. Let's end it on that, because I think every generation always blames the other one. I just feel like everything's accelerating now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It just seems with how fast things are moving, and then, just throw AI in and what that's going to do to the job market and how kids can prepare nowadays. If you think too hard about it, it's freaky. And so it's just hard. It's just really hard.
My mom would lose her mind over what Yvonne says. She says our trust inheritance that she's dealing with now is divided 8 ways. Grandkids get the same as kids. That's how they set it up.
How does that work? Are they? I'm assuming the grandkids are adults too.
In my family, usually like grandparents will leave a little something for the kids, like a couple $1,000 or whatever, like, even if that.
No.
And it's the offspring, there's a little gnat in here, that get the, that split the chunk of the thing.
I get it. And if you want to get it by being my child, just
then you get it from me.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a little different.
What the hell?
But hey, you do you, right?
You can't take it with you, I guess. Whatever you want to do with the inheritance, I guess. Nikki says, don't forget boomers are spread over 20 years. Hippies of 60s have different perspective than mid 50 boomers or early 60s boomers. Yeah. Great point. Absolutely. And again, I apologize if you guys, I am obviously painting just like that video did with a huge, huge broad brush, right? You can't talk about the boomer generation without doing that. And obviously, if you're liberal or not liberal, whatever, everybody has, I never voted that way. I saw some people, of course. Okay. Then you didn't. I'm just saying within this conversation, there was a lot of generalities that I was making. And so if it didn't apply to you, obviously it didn't apply to you. But I guess I'm just really worried about how we're setting up our next generation.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want to make the same decisions necessarily to protect my own interests as I get older and ignore the reality of what's coming for my kids, even if I don't understand it. Right? Like, I might not understand. Dude, do you know what the future is going to look like in 30 years? I might not understand it. Just like the politicians in Washington don't understand half the shit that's happening right now. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where you have to vote for a future that you may not be part of to take care of the future generation, if that makes sense. And it may not help your pocketbook, but that's what it's going to do. Okay, we talked about that enough. Let's talk about something else. Because I promised we would get to this story, Kim, and that is that Prince Andrew is no more. Prince Andrew is no more. Prince Andrew, and I am here for it. I am, and it is sad. And I'm clapping because obviously, now how do you say her last name? Virginia.
I say Jeffrey.
Is it Jeff? Okay, let's use your pronunciation, Jeffrey. Now she obviously passed away sadly earlier this year at the age of 41. She took her own life, and because obviously she's had a very traumatic life. But she did write that book. Well, it came out posthumously, but it's called Nobody's Girl: A Memoir of Surviving Abuse and Fighting for Justice, where she detailed the 3 times she was allegedly made to have sex with Prince or former Prince Andrew when she was just 17 years old. Ghislaine Maxwell apparently introduced them together allegedly. And so, today, Buckingham Palace announced that Andrew will no longer be known as Prince or His Royal Highness. Quote, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. It's about friggin' time. I don't know how long a story has to be out for something like that to happen, but I am glad and I'm here for it. It's so freaking gross. Now can we open up the government and get the Epstein files out? That's all I keep thinking about. Like, if they could do that, can we do that? Now, on Friday, October 17th, Andrew announced he would give up the use of his royal titles, but he retained the titles at the time and was still known as Prince Andrew. So this kind of makes it official.
This guy is I'll say it. This guy is a creep.
Yeah.
I've been following this story for a while. There were 2 stories last week alone that there were reports that he paid people to harass Virginia Giuffre.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
try to dig up dirt on her,
Of course.
try to leak things to the press that weren't true, that he had, well, when she was still with us, that, you know, he paid people to do like damaging,
dirty.
well, yeah, like someone's harassing you, like you're getting phone calls and threats and bad things, like
Hence
horrible.
why she probably, you know, felt the need to do the unthinkable. You know what I mean? Like,
like maybe drove her to it.
Right, exactly. And I'm not saying that was the reason, but
there was a story as well that his ex-wife, who they live with, they still live together because she has no money. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess, former Duchess of York, Fergie, they call her.
Right.
So I remember a long time ago, she was called out for approaching someone like to offer her money for some publicity, right?
Okay.
With her hand out. Well, with this whole Epstein thing, he was a cash cow to them, apparently. And so she goes, and after she publicly says, we're not going to have anything to do with him, I'm horrified by the allegations and la la la. And he gets out of prison. And the reports are, she goes to him and says, it's horrible what they did to you. And by the way, might you have this X amount of money for me? Because I really need, you know, I really can't pay for things. I really need your money.
Oh my
what?
God.
So in public, you know, they're decrying everything as foul, but in private, they're going to him and they're still trying to be friends with him and they're still trying to cozy up and they're still trying to take his money and they're still, you know, basically, I think if you are approaching him in private, you're condoning what he did. Either you're horrified and you separate yourself from someone or not. And if not, then that means you're as creepy as they are.
Well, yeah, or you're okay with it, or you're okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're willing to be that close to a child molester, right? Like, there's something wrong with you. There's absolutely something wrong with you. So I don't know. I'm glad that it's happening, but where's the prison time or jail? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he lost his title. And I guess that's humiliating. Okay. But the dude
he's already kicked out of the military, had his military, you know, appointment stripped away. He got, you know, ostracized from the royal family and wasn't able to work and get taxpayer or whatever British money from them. But he still lived in one of the royal houses with his ex-wife. And now apparently they're going to take that away too. So at least there's some financial hurt, perhaps, but this guy's never had to pay for anything in his life. So he's probably has a big stockpile of cash, and it's not, you know, he's publicly humiliated, but I don't know if that's enough.
He needs to walk down the street and be shamed. But no, he needs prison time. That's I know, exactly. I know jail's not actually happening. It bothers me, again, that powerful men, even Ghislaine Maxwell, sitting in prison or whatever cozy place she is in now. She, yes, horrific woman, did horrific things.
Yep.
What man is in prison for this? I mean, obviously Epstein was for a brief moment in time, but that's it. Where is everybody else? I mean, again, all this BS about, oh my God, the list of people that did this to the victims is so long, but we're trying to protect the victims. My ass. You're protecting the men. That's the only way I could think about it. These victims want these men to be outed. They want them outed. So I'm glad that this happened. I'm glad that he's lost his whatever name, but I just wish that the punishment was a bit harsher.
Talk about the word privilege. I mean, here, listen to what he's losing. He loses his lodging. And he also loses these titles: the Prince, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, Baron Killyleagh, and the style, His Royal Highness. The honors
Baron
affected are
Killyleagh?
Baron Killy. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Killyleagh. The honors affected are Andrew's Order of the Garter and Knight of the Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order.
Oh my God. Yeah,
He had ceased to use the HRH, His Royal Highness, in 2022, but it had not formally been removed. His daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, they still get they are still princesses. They don't have to lose their title because he loses his. So.
Well, that's good. I guess that's good for them. I don't understand all this royal crap anyway. I guess that means a lot, but I know, and that's a Liz thing. Those titles mean a lot to them. I get it. It's just, again, this woman was obviously totally abused as a teenager, lived with this for decades, and then traumatized again when she tried to come out, and then obviously took her own life. And yeah, this guy loses his title. It just doesn't seem like the punishment's enough in my book. It just doesn't. Yeah, so the book again that Sandy is asking for, it is called let me get it right. Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice.
And she details being forced to have sex with Andy, we'll call him Andy now, forget the prince, Andy, 3 times. Once at Ghislaine Maxwell's home in London, once at Epstein's address in Manhattan, and once on the Epstein Island. And he's always denied it, but does anybody doubt her? Does any, in death or in life, did you ever not believe her?
No, of course.
Yeah, I believe everything she says.
Of course.
Everything.
I mean, it's just so awful. And again, where are the files? You know what I mean? And it's just, and Mike Johnson sitting there wearing his friggin' cross on his neck, acting like he's all friggin' religious man. And it's just a load of crap. So we'll see what happens. But I'm glad that happened. I hope that once the government does reopen, that more people here in America are held accountable. And I don't care if they're Democrat, Republican, whoever. They need to go to prison. They need to be outed. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'll say this, even though I don't believe it, even if Trump is never implicated, I want people implicated. There are people out there that abused these children, and they need to be held accountable. I don't care who the hell they are. If they're in that list, if they can be proven, they need to go to prison. That's it. That's it.
Do you remember the interview? He was trying to do damage control, Andy, and he gave an interview to the BBC, and it was awful because it was so clear that he was guilty as all hell. In this interview, he's like, he said things that nonsensical things, not like, I'm very sorry, it's horrible what she's been through, all of these things. It was horrible. There is a Democratic congressman in America, Suhas Subramaniam, who has been calling for Andy to testify before the U.S. House committee about his links to Epstein and Maxwell. He's been urged to give evidence. Do you think that Andy will ever come to America and testify? No.
One foot in here. Absolutely not.
No, he won't. He'll never divulge. And wouldn't that be, if you did something so horrible and you really felt awful about it after the fact, which how many people do it and feel awful about it because, they probably think, as Jeffrey said in her memoir, that Andy thought it was his birthright to be able to do this to her.
Sure. I'm
right?
Sure.
He doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel bad about it. How dare she complain is probably how he feels.
It's like, you got to F a prince. Like, why wouldn't you be happy?
She would complain about this, right?
Oh, and then Kim was saying something earlier about how she said that he was sweaty, and he's like, I have a condition that makes it so I can't sweat. And so that's why that was his proof that he didn't do it. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. I mean, it makes you just really despise the legal system also. Not lawyers, not that, but it's just like, why are these people not held accountable? I know that's obviously not our country, but I'm just, so gross. And again, I want government to open. I want the vote to happen. I want the Epstein files released if they are ever going to be released. I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of fire happens. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, Lord Almighty. I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll see. We shall see what happens.
They say that the princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, were flown out of the country with parents, or with their friends, as their parents are being ushered from their royal lodgings. They're leaving. Everyone's leaving. I don't usually like to wish ill on people or, pour
of course.
add on, like pile on. But I just feel like this is such a long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
How long were they able to get away with living free off the people in their fancy royal house when they're just gross? They're super, super gross.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens if there's any trickle down effect here in the United States, which I hope there is. But it is nice to see at least somebody, a big name is getting something like that. So we'll see. All right. I have a little thing that I want to make it a regular type thing of how we end our show. How we like to end on an up note. So I'm thinking that sometimes we can end on kind of either like a funny or like a WTF type of way.
Okay.
But it's going to require probably some people to help me. So viewers and listeners, if you see anything that you want me to include, you can email it to me at thenikkimadoroshow@gmail.com. Because you scroll on the internet and maybe you guys knew this. So if you knew it, good on you. I didn't know this. Okay. So I want to start like this kind of segment where it's like crazy shit I just learned. Okay. So I'm on Instagram today, like waiting for the day to end at work. And I did not know this about of course, my dog. I'm going to play this video. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, Nugget. Chit, Nugget. That's funny.
Okay. Because I don't want to play my video. Okay. Go away, dog. All right. So I'm turning around and I'm scrolling on Instagram. All right. And I see this video and I'm like, I did not know this. Did you know this? I did not know this. So let's hear. Here's the video. This is my lead in of what I just learned. Okay. Here, let's turn the video on. Here we go.
The bee semen gets sent in little vials.
Better still, how do you get the semen out of the bee?
So that's the most common question we get asked, Senator.
Yeah, thank you. You asked what I was. I don't know how you do that.
So look, it's part of the vernacular. Everyone wants to know how you get semen out of a bee. And I can't claim to be an expert, and you can. How come I'm the only one with a straight face here? So basically, you squeeze the bee, which averts its endophallus, and then the semen is collected from the end.
And the bee's still alive when you finish?
No, but
that was the answer.
No,
but to get the semen, you got to kill the bee.
Bees also die when they mate naturally.
Oh, right.
In fact, they explode.
Did you know that? Did you know
How do you get bee semen into?
I did not know.
What?
That when a male bee has sex, it explodes at the end. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
I had no idea that a male bee, and I had to Google it because they were like,
I knew they died, but I didn't know they blew up.
I knew that when like they stuck the stinger in you and they pulled it, like they like disemboweled themselves, but no.
Yeah.
A male bee, after having sex, explodes. Google it. Okay, so I'm just saying that was the crazy shit I learned today. I'm just saying, if you wanted to know something that you could share with somebody, look at Kim. You know that Kim's like looking it up. But I will tell you, the best comment to that video was honey nut Cheerio.
Okay, I have a video that I have to play you.
Okay, go.
I did show this on the after party live earlier,
Okay.
but I think it's worth it. This guy drove this 1991 Geo Metro for the last 35 years, and he lives in
That's pretty good
Utah.
commercial.
I was pretty good out of that. Good life of that car. Took good care of it. Finally, it died, and it's not worth fixing. And so he and his wife had been talking about the way this car should go out. And what they did is they hoisted this pumpkin that's more than 1,900 pounds, 14 stories in the air, and then they dropped it right on top of this Geo Metro. And here's how it looked.
All right. Damn.
I mean, talk about exploding. That thing went flat.
Look at that. Well, what? Like, it's a small car and a giant pumpkin. My God.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. What a way to go. Oh, I think I'd be a little sad if I had a car that long.
Yeah.
And I had to say goodbye to it. Oh, well, that was a really cool video. Yeah. Harry, thank you for the $5 donation. He loves the idea of WTF endings. So thank you guys for being here. If you have any other WTF endings, again, email them to me, theNikkiMadoroShow@gmail.com. I know somebody was like, a lot of insects die when they mate. I just didn't know that male, when they say explode, apparently they do. And I loved that video because the politicians could not keep a straight face. And the guy was like, how do you get the bee semen? And they're like, well, you just squeeze it. And they're like, so the bee survives? He's like, no, they die. And he's like, but that happens in normal life too. Like, can you imagine just having sex knowing you're going to explode? I don't know. I thought it was nuts. I thought it was nuts. So let's say thank you also to Cindy. Thank you for the $10 donation. And we got a big thank you from Cindy as well, Kim. And Harry came in with another $10 donation as well. We are one. Oh, go on.
Oh, did you look up pictures of it happening?
Oh, do you have a video of it happening?
Oh, yeah, but is it
in slow-mo?
It is, but it's bee sex. Like, do you want to watch bee sex? You do want to watch bee sex?
Why would I not want to see bee sex?
Oh, my. You don't want to see it, do you? You
yes.
do? Jesus.
I've never wanted anything more.
Mary, Mother of God, here we go. I don't know what we're doing. Here we're doing. This is the new WTF
Who doesn't want to see bees having sex? Go to town, man. Oh, he's about to die. Okay.
He's about to die.
See, and this just goes to prove the guy will do anything to have sex. You know what I mean? He's like, I know I'm about to die, but I'm ready to do it. And so, when does he explode?
I think are we just watching bees mate? I think he drops to the
is that
ground.
It? I thought
you wanted a grand explosion. Yeah, I don't know.
Added like the special effects.
Things you learn.
That wasn't in the Bee movie. I saw the Bee movie all the time, and that's why I don't take it exactly. I remember that Bee movie. Who was it with? Jerry Seinfeld. Did you ever see the Bee movie with Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah.
I don't remember that part. I don't remember that movie covering the fact that they were going to explode if they ever had sex. I'm just saying. All right, you guys.
Wait, Phineas has a great question that we must answer because you always have the best costumes. You make the costumes for the kids. Tell me about it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've never done this before. I bought all of this stuff at Spirit Halloween earlier this week.
Okay.
Oh, let me show you the video. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to show you exactly the video that I'm going to do because I saved it. You guys know that I love my scary movies. Kim, I love my scary movies. And I've always wanted to do something really gross and gory, but I've never had the time or the whatever to do it. So did I save? Am I in the right email? Darn it.
While you look it up, you want me to tell you what Jacob's going to be?
Yeah, please.
He found this human pinata costume.
Okay.
And
I know exactly what you're looking at. I know exactly which one that is. I love
Jacob,
that one.
This is a bad idea. You're going to go to school and any kid that has bully-like tendencies is going to come and beat your butt.
Right.
This is a bad scene. This is a bad idea. So I was telling Tony, who I work with on the Mark Thompson show, about the human pinata idea, and he thought that was the best. He goes, no. Here's what you got to do. You got to get a couple of pool noodles, and you give them to a couple of Jacob's friends, and they're the only ones allowed to smack the human pinata with a pool noodle. And when they do
That's a
it,
good idea.
he kind of releases candy at the ground, like as the day goes on.
That's a good idea.
And I thought, Tony, that's really, really clever. So that's the general idea. I'm really hoping that Jacob does not get pulverized at school by going as a human pinata, but
well,
we'll
also
see.
if they know that he has candy and all they have to do is hit him to get it.
I know. Is this a bad idea? This could
Maybe
be.
do it towards the end. Maybe do it
Mhm.
towards the end. Don't give the candy right away. Have the
Right.
pool noodles, but then at
Right.
the end, maybe do the candy because that would be like, or do they have a contest?
No, they don't. They have a
Oh.
Halloween parade the morning of Halloween.
Okay, so maybe do it during the parade, but then like don't tell anybody you have any candy left over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because I can imagine them being like, "Wait, you have candy? I'm going to beat you with the thing to get candy." You know?
Smarties. He expels Smarties when he's smacked. I'm like, I don't
Okay.
know.
I think that's a good idea.
It's cute, but then I thought, well, maybe he should be the human pinata Halloween night where like I'm with him and be something else during the day at school. So he does.
How many costumes do you have?
I could come up with something. I mean, you can always come up with something, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the makeup this is the tutorial at least. that I'm following. I will post a video of me doing it. I hope that I could do it well. Here we go. This is the video. There's no sound, but this is the chick that got it. This is all the stuff that I bought.
Okay.
Okay. This is what I'm going to try to do. And then it doesn't look that hard. I mean, so I got all of the exact same. So she's putting, see, this doesn't look very hard.
Oh, this is the smile thing where your face is gonna be split open. Okay.
Yeah, see, it doesn't look that. And I have the blood, and you just put the blood on there, and then you put it on your lips, and that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. So we'll see if it actually works. It doesn't look that difficult though.
And then do you just wear regular clothes?
Yeah, because that's the movie.
Okay.
Did you ever watch the movie?
Oh God, no.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Of course not. Yikes.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to do that. And I figure like I could get, I can just drink through a straw or anything like that. So if you have medical, Kim, your son might need it. A pool noodle will be fine. I don't think he'll get a concussion. Well, that's cute. My little nephew at one time was a UPS guy, some cute brown in some cute browns in the box.
Yeah, adorable.
James, my husband, was going to try to find a MAGA hat, but he couldn't find one in time. And he was going to wear overalls, and he was going to go as someone that was bankrupt. But I was like, we're going to my dad's house. Can we just not?
Can you not poke the bear?
Well, my dad wore his MAGA hat during Halloween last year. So that was an uncomfortable thing to sit next to all Halloween. So we're not going to do that again.
David has a red baseball cap with a little teeny tiny Mickey Mouse on the front that he bought at Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
And he'll wear it and people look at us like, oh, there's one of those. And it's got Mickey Mouse on the front, but you don't know until he turns around. And even then the logo is really small and the damage is done. So I'm like, could you just not wear that anymore?
You not wear a red hat anymore. It's been damaged.
I'm very embarrassed by it.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful. It's really freaking annoying. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, if you want to send in, I'd love to see your Halloween costumes or put them on our socials. I'd love to see it. But yeah, I'll make a video. I'll take some pictures of my smiles. You have to take a picture of your kids for Halloween as well, Kim. My kid, Dylan, just left. He's some sort of zombie, but it's like a cartoon zombie that has a cone on his head. I don't know what it's from.
Sure.
It's a cartoon. And then Marley's going to be like an alien, and then she's a Pusheen. Anybody know what a Pusheen? It's a cat. It's a, I don't know what you call it. Like Hello Kitty, but instead of Hello Kitty, it's Pusheen. So it's like a brand, but this is the cat's name is Pusheen. And I got her like the pajamas that has a hat, like it's a onesie. So she has that costume, and then she has an alien costume. So one's comfortable, one's probably teenage girl.
Julia says she's too old for Halloween and she's not going to be anything this year.
Boo on you, girlfriend. I'll take your free candy. You could just give it all to me. I know. I sent James to Costco he got 3 huge bags of candy. I'm going to say by the time we get there tomorrow, so I'll probably be at my parents' house by 7 after I do my makeup. If it can last 2.5 hours, I'll be happy. If the people are the same amount as last year, it might not go. 6-7 is going to be a very popular costume this year. The K-pop Demon Hunters. I should have bought the costumes, like a bunch of them early, because they're totally sold out. That was like the number one costume apparently.
The 6-7 costumes?
No, the K-pop Demon Hunters costume.
Oh yeah, those are super popular.
I totally should have done that. You know what I mean? But oh well. Heather's like going to be dressed up as a germaphobe misanthrope tomorrow. Steve and I are flying to Indiana for his parents' anniversary celebration.
Nice.
Oh, all right. Well, try to put on a happy face.
Hey, how was your birthday, by the way?
Oh, my birthday was fun. We went to a haunted house at Eastridge. It was very fun.
Okay.
They treated us to the VIP, so we got to the front of the line. It was very, very cute. It was scary. It could have been scarier, but that's because I think my expectations are always too high. But it was long. It was a very long. I was very impressed with how long it was.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun. I led the way. My friend Leslie literally was holding on to the back of her husband's back. I don't think she saw the whole entire haunted house. I think she just looked at her husband's back the whole time. And I always look at people like that, and I always wonder to myself what it must be like to really be scared of things like that. But that's just not me. I'm like, scare me more. Scare me more.
Speaking of which,
$60.
It's crazy how much candy costs.
No, 3 bags for $20 at Costco.
Wow.
I mean, $20 for a bag that was this big from Costco. I think that's a pretty good deal, honestly.
David found bags of candy at Trader Joe's, and they're like fake Snickers, fake Twix, fake Three Musketeers.
Oh, how funny.
It looks the same. It's almost like maybe it really did come from those companies, but it's all packaged in Trader Joe's packaging.
Oh, perfect. Whatever. That works.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh, yeah. And let's give a big thank you to your husband, by the way.
He did vote. As a matter of fact, he had a
it was my birthday gift, by the way. Thank you, David.
He had a post-show debate with Nikki. And
he got a little testy.
He got testy, and then he came in the office and he handed the ballot. Did he hand it to me or did he cast it to me?
He handed it and then slammed the door on the way out.
Fine.
Kim, we got our vote, right? We won.
So he's voting this way, and the vote has been sent in, and party over. Thanks, Nikki Maduro.
Oh, that was really fun. Yeah, and thank you, David. We had to work for that one, Kim, but we won.
We did. If only we could do that to everybody in America.
Oh God, I don't think I
you
can
knew that. I know, but if you knew that you could influence the vote and tell people the truth and get them to vote against Trump.
I don't know if I could do that with every voter. That
I would sit down and I would call everyone in America. I would start today. Listen, my friend Nikki needs to talk to you about voting for anyone but Trump. Take it away, Nikki.
I mean, it's only because I adore David. I think I would just like murder people at some point. I'd be like, okay, we're done. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. But yes, no, David did it, and I'm really, really happy that he did. So thank you for my birthday gift, David. That was very, very nice.
Look at Cheryl says, I think a half hour with Nikki would convince most people she's a good weapon. Yes,
or they just
is.
want me to shut the hell up. They're like, okay, fine. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. But he did the right thing, Kim. So I hope that you praised him a lot. All right. So by this time next week, we'll know. Newsom, like we talked about already, we don't need any more of your money because we're going to save it for whenever next year. So yeah, everybody get your ballots in. I don't care what he says. We need every vote. Do not take anything for granted. So get your votes in on Tuesday. And yes, we will talk about it on Thursday right here, 6 o'clock Pacific. Bring your cocktails. Tell your friends.
5 o'clock Pacific, right?
5 o'clock Pacific.
I mean, don't be like me.
5 o'clock Pacific. 5 o'clock Pacific. 5 o'clock Pacific. Sorry. We're turning our clocks back also, by the way. So don't forget to do that, right? That happens this weekend. I'm right about that. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to gain an hour. All right. I loved us. I talked to Chip. He's doing well. So yeah, everybody, we will see you. Vote. Get out there. I love you all. Happy Halloween. Please stay safe. If you could stay off the roads, please do that as well.
Yeah.
And see you 5 o'clock next Thursday. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.